There is a problem with the second step on the stairway. It is a logical problem, but it is also an experiential problem. Let me try to put it to you, let me try to explain it. We know that Gurdjieff was teaching that there is a break in the chain of energetic production in us. We don't receive the energies we should do. We fall to a very low energetic level. As a result of this, we fall into structures, internal structures, in which we are trapped. We cannot escape from these structures because we don't have the energies to do so. So Gurdjieff's teaching is about the energies. And we are at a low energetic state, so we're trapped in structures. Because we're trapped in structures, we are forced to create, therefore, an abnormal psychology. We can't put the psychology right. We can't change this abnormal psychology by psychological means. This is the error of the Gurdjieff tradition. This is Ouspensky's error. Gurdjieff instead is saying that we require a complete transformation. We need to raise the energetic level of the whole organism to a higher level, at which point we can escape from these structures and our abnormal psychology will become normal in consequence of this release, this escape from these structures. So Gurdjieff's teaching is about this transformation. The first step in, or stage in this transformation, we have to have something inside. We must place data in ourselves at a more profound level. And this is actually what Gurdjieff was teaching Ouspensky. We then come to the second step on the stairway. We must rectify this break in the chain of energetic production in us and actually receive and digest the energies from the food of impressions that we should. And of course also, according to the food diagram, we also start to acquire additional energies from the air and the atmosphere and from our breathing. So we're going from the first food diagram of Ouspensky, a depleted energetic state in which we are trapped in internal structures, to the second step on the stairway, to the second food diagram of Ouspensky, which appears an augmented energetic state, but is actually the normal energetic background to a normal life and to a normal psychology. So we're changing from the first food diagram to the second food diagram by rectifying this break in the chain of energetic production in us. Now there's a problem with this. And the problem lies in the fact that we are trapped in structures. And one of the structures we're trapped in, Gurdjieff writes throughout the book and emphasises throughout his book, Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson, that we have two consciousnesses, two conscious minds having nothing in common. And we are in the wrong one. Now we've seen already we are in the wrong conscious mind, so we're living in a state that Gurdjieff originally called sleep. This is not correct, and it leads to unfortunate consequences, so he stopped doing this. He called it waking sleep to Ouspensky. We are awake, such as we are as ordinary men and women, and yet retain qualities analogous to sleep. Gurdjieff explained to Ouspensky. In Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson, of course, there's none of this. Beelzebub explains that we live in a mild state of hypnosis. So this is a little bit puzzling, because of course sleep and hypnosis are opposites. Sleep is a relaxation of the chains of association in us, dreaming, whereas hypnosis, in terms of what little we understand of it, requires two conscious minds and is a focusing, some sort of focusing in relation to those two conscious minds. So these are opposite things. Never mind. We live in a state of consciousness our ordinary state of consciousness, which is not a true state of consciousness, because we are not living in a true conscious mind. Our true conscious mind should be, Gurdjieff says, the subconscious. And our true state of consciousness, consciousness of self, we don't have as ordinary men and women, or we have only very rarely when we somehow acquire the energies for it. So what is the problem? What is the break in the chain of energetic production in us? Gurdjieff says that we have an excellently working automatism for perceiving all kinds of new impressions. So it's about the food of impressions. We don't receive new impressions as we should. Why not? Because we have an automatic perception. So we're working on this automatic perception. We can either disrupt this automatism, and he said automaticitaciousness, but we can either disrupt, or we can bypass, or we can eventually intentionally and consciously overcome this automaticitaciousness, this automatic perception. In this way we receive the food of impressions as we should, and we can gradually build up the apparently augmented energetic background to a normal life depicted by Ouspensky in the second food diagram. But there is a problem with this, because any work that we do in terms of perception leads to the receipt of the food of impressions. But the receipt of the food of impressions takes place in our true conscious mind. And this is not us as we are. It's us as we should be. But as we are, it's not us. So what this means in terms of both logic and in terms of our experience is that we start to receive the food of impressions as we should. We start to digest the food of impressions as we should. We start to have the higher energies as we should, but we don't know it. We don't experience it because we are in the structural state. We're trapped in the structural state in which we are in the wrong conscious mind. We have two conscious minds having nothing in common. We are in the wrong one. So the receipt of impressions is taking place in our true conscious mind, and of course living in a false conscious mind, we don't register this. We don't know this. We can't know this because we are living in the wrong conscious mind. So this is where we have to be told what to do, and we have to do it. It's about techniques, and we can follow these techniques, and to a certain extent, and perhaps even to quite a large extent, we don't actually experience any results from this because we are living in the wrong conscious mind. We are trapped in the energetic structure. Until we acquire enough energies, until we acquire this augmented energetic background to a normal state, and then our true conscious mind comes, as Gurdjieff says, to predominate in us. Until then, we don't register any advantage to these techniques. So why would we do them? Because we don't register any advantage. And this is the problem, both a logical problem and a problem of our experience, an experiential problem. Because we have techniques that we have to follow over long periods of time, and we don't register any benefit from them. We don't realise what's going on because it's actually going on in our true conscious mind, which is not us as we are as ordinary men and women. So I don't know whether you can see there, it might sound a little bit tortuous, but actually it's perfectly logical that in terms of what we have to do on the second step on the stairway, to change ourselves, to change our situation, to acquire the energies that we should have, the energetic background to a normal life, what we have to do does not register with us as any benefit. We don't register the results of it for a long time. We just have to follow the techniques and hope for the best. So we have to depend to quite a large extent in this upon a teacher telling us what to do, ensuring that we do this over long periods of time until we acquire the energies in our true conscious mind to allow us to become aware of the benefits that are developing and accruing from following these techniques. Without a teacher and without this teaching, firstly, we would have absolutely no idea what is wrong with us. And we would not know the techniques, and we would not know, even if we did know the techniques, we would not follow the techniques because they would not register in us any benefit. So this is an extraordinarily important teaching because it's not a teaching that's ever going to be discovered. It's a teaching that somehow exists. It is correct, in my opinion. And yet, it is never ever going to be discovered by anyone. We only know it because Gurdjieff tells us this is our situation. And we only know the techniques because those who follow these techniques, those who escape from the internal structures that we're trapped in, those people can tell us what to do and can assure us and reassure us that following these techniques leads to benefits. So the logical situation is that we've got to remedy this break in the chain of energetic production in us. We've got to perceive and receive the food of impressions. But we do this in our true conscious mind, which Gurdjieff says is the subconscious. And this mind is not us. It is not connected to us. So we don't know that we are benefiting from these techniques, from this process. So this second step on the stairway has this serious logical and experiential problem. But as I say, we don't register for quite a long time the benefits that are developing in us. We have to rely on a teacher and a teaching.